Great to see you, and welcome to the first monthly instalment of Twyford Property Pulse, where we like to keep you informed with everything happening locally. I'm Carl from Avocado, and I've been in the industry since 2011. I grew up in Woodley, so not far away, and my partner grew up in Walgrave.
Hi, I'm Vic, and I'm a local interior designer in Twyford. I work in Twyford and the surrounding areas and live in Twyford as well. I'm also the owner of the Orangery where we're sat today. So all of the designs in here are mine as well. So next time you come in, have a look.
Hi, my name's Dom. I'm director of the Money Guardian. We are a financial advice practice based in Twyford, just over the road on the High Street. And I'm looking forward to chatting with Vic and Kyle today, just about the property market in general and sharing as much as we can about what we know.
So Vic, tell us about the venue, because it is absolutely stunning in here. I love it.
Oh, thank you. The idea of the Orangery was to create somewhere in Twyford that everyone could come and sort of stay for a long period of time, have a chat, have a coffee. We really wanted the food to be kind of like homely food and just good food. So obviously we have healthy options. I'm not the most healthy person, so I just like to go out and like really indulge in something. So that was the idea behind the food and drinks, and also cocktails. There isn't really a lot of places locally you can walk to and get cocktails, so we felt like cocktails had to be quite big on the menu. As for the design, that was really important to me, obviously, being a designer, and I wanted you to be able to walk in and feel like you were being hugged almost. So we were trying to have like sort of no white spaces, every part was filled, even the ceiling. A lot of mixture of patterns and just really warm, cosy colours and textures. And we spent a lot of time and money doing it up and just really picking the fabrics and the wallpapers, tiles, everything. It's a lot of hard work, but worth it.
Yeah, it definitely shows. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I don't think there's anything else really like it in Twyford.
No, that's good.
How long have you been open?
Since the end of September last year. So what's that, 5 months?
I think so, yeah.
6 months?
I remember
Yeah.
that soft launch evening when it was
You
hot.
came,
Do you remember?
Yeah, it was boiling, wasn't it, in summer?
Oh, yeah, crazy. Yeah.
Everyone needed a cold drink that day.
Yeah, and we've got some big dates coming up as well, haven't we, with Mother's Day on the horizon and things like that.
So we've got Mother's Day, so we're booking in afternoon teas for that. They've been really popular, actually. We've had a lot of baby showers in, hen do's, that kind of thing. So yeah, they've been really great at the moment.
You often see people on community pages saying, where's the best place for an afternoon tea?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, what a lovely venue if you wanted to treat your mum or your nan or whatever. I mean, why would you want to go anywhere else?
Exactly.
And again, you can have the Prosecco option, so you can just walk in, get a little bit tipsy and walk home.
Yep. And it's all Instagrammable as well, ready for Pinterest.
Yeah, exactly.
Spot on.
So what about Victoria Willson Interiors?
I started Victoria Willson Interiors probably, it was 8 or 9 years ago maybe. I think about 9 years ago. So we built our own house, which was obviously a real luxury. And while we were doing it, I was like really absolutely loved it. So I was like, I want to do a bit more of this, and changed career completely. Went to uni as a mature student. Did that obviously 3-year degree, and then just went from strength to strength from there, and I haven't looked back since. Absolutely love it so much.
Didn't you do the design in what's that?
In Calico, in Reading.
Yeah, it used to be Great Expectations.
Used to be Great Expectations. Yeah.
Okay.
So that got completely stripped out, and we made it into
It's
a
funky,
new,
right?
modern, again like cocktail bar, amazing food. It's really really nice decor, if I do say so myself. Just a cool place to go, and it's in the centre of Reading, isn't it? So
Nice.
that was that was a big project for us, but yeah, we again love that, and want to do more sort of commercial as well as domestic.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy both. You can go a bit more crazy with commercial.
Yeah.
So.
In terms of valuations, I'm certainly seeing a lot of you at the moment, but 1 or 2 people are a little bit hesitant to get moving. Obviously things like the base rate and troubles in the Middle East aren't helping, but homes are selling. And there are lots of different things that you can do to make sure that your home sits front and centre as and when you're ready to go on the market.
So give us an example of what that could be, Carl. What's best practice when you're getting ready?
So when you're getting ready, 10% rule every time. Clear out 10% of the items in your home without fail. That will help with organising when you're going forward, getting ready for viewings. Because typically when it comes to moving, you're probably going to get rid of about 30% by the end anyway, or just move it from one loft to the next. Just get rid of it now. Anything you haven't seen, touched or used in the last 6 months, get rid of it. Take it to the charity shop, great time of year for that. Never a bad time to get down the charity shop. Obviously things that aren't included in that list would be your suitcases and your Christmas trees, because you want to keep those for next year. But yeah, just have a big clear out, get rid of as much as possible. You want the pathways clear.
There's also nothing worse when you look through property listings to see like someone's washing hanging in the corner, you know, or just like the washing up on the side is there. It just doesn't make for a nice photo.
Like a true interior designer.
Yeah, you want to make it as tidy as possible.
Yeah,
if you
I
can.
spot all those things, and even if I'm looking for like, I don't know, a hotel or Airbnb, I look. For me, it's the pictures. It's all about which place looks the nicest and which looks the best. So we'll talk about home staging, I think, at another time, but there are some tips that we can give you to really get your home looking good for the photos.
Yeah.
Is it a myth that you stand a better chance if you've freshly brewed coffee and baked some bread, or is that just rubbish?
Put some flowers on the table.
It doesn't hurt. It certainly doesn't hurt. That's for sure. I think
homely smells is good.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I think you only get one chance to make it.
Oh.
What was that?
Your
Oh,
pen.
that's right. It's just the pen. But you only get one chance to make a great first impression. And yeah, sort of having the washing hanging up versus, maybe the smell of fresh bread or some nicely lit candles. I know which I prefer to have if I'm bringing someone through the door. And typically as a estate agent, we'll try and get there ahead of viewing anyway to make sure that everything is as set as it possibly can be. So yeah, if maybe one of my sellers has got children, I have a young son myself, so I can appreciate it's not always easy to have the house looking immaculate. And if I know that maybe your children are quite active, then I may well look to get there a little bit early so I can help with that. But yeah, every effort should be made to just try and keep the house as tidy as we can and present it in its best possible light.
Well, I think in that future episode we've got the perfect person.
Indeed, we
Answer
do.
some of those questions,
Yeah.
All of those questions.
All those
please.
questions.
All those questions.
I think of an episode, staging masterclass with Victoria Willson.
Yes. Yeah. I think that sounds like a good one.
Yeah. So you said the market wasn't. You're doing lots of valuations, but still evidence of people kind of they're sort of holding back.
Yeah, so we're seeing quite a few houses come to the market now. They're starting to come on, although I would say a lot of those houses were on the market at some point last year.
Yeah.
And statistically, 44% of the houses that came on the market last year and didn't sell are likely to come back on again this year. And I feel like that 44% has already come back on. I'm seeing a lot of good homes, and I'm starting to see the switch between where it's been a buyer's market for quite a while now back to a seller's market.
Yeah.
And the buyers are there. We're seeing a good volume of quality buyers, but just not the right supply potentially. And I think at the moment, once that trickle starts, I think we'll have a very, very active market again.
So Twyford generally, is there? I mean, what are the stock levels like? Is there lots of choice, or is it specific types of homes that people are wanting to buy and there's just not enough of them available?
I think there's certainly a big demand there at the moment for 3 and 4 bedroom houses.
Yeah.
And also if the price is right. Some of the homes that I'm seeing on the market, they've been on market for 12 months, 24 months, and even the news have reported on it quite heavily with the changes that we've seen in the marketplace.
Yeah.
A lot of those houses have just stayed at the same price throughout, whereas actually in reality they've gone up, they've gone down, they've fluctuated significantly.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of them are still sat there, because they're not potentially getting the correct advice or information from their agent to make the correct informed decisions to get them moved. But yeah, so I guess that kind of combined with other factors are maybe why you're seeing certain houses just sit there consistently, whilst others will come on and then sell very quickly.
Yeah.
Right now with Twyford as it is, there's overall a healthy-ish level, but you need each level of the housing market there and in place. So kind of for people to staircase upwards.
Yeah.
And if there's kind of a gap, which I'm seeing with the 3 and 4 beds right now, if we could fill that gap, I think we'll get consistent movement again.
So for the for some of these houses that have been on the market for a while, it might be the way that they're being presented online. You know, the photos that maybe aren't kind of, you know,
Doing it justice,
yeah,
really, yeah.
yeah, totally. Is there? I know that you're big on drones, right?
Yes.
I think of Kyle as the drone
guy.
master.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. So if somebody is watching and they're not getting the level of interest expected, or they've had the property on the market for a while, it's got to be worth a conversation with you about how a drone might, you know, drone footage might lift that.
Absolutely, and I've had that on so many occasions already where I've taken a property on the market that's been on the market with another agent for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months beforehand.
Yeah.
And they've had a handful of viewings. Completely transform it with the marketing, because that is the starting point. If the marketing isn't up to scratch, you're just not going to get the interest from day one. So you have to absolutely nail the marketing. Once you've nailed the marketing, it's then how is the property marketed? Because you can have all of that there, but if it's not going and landing in front of the right buyers, then you're still unlikely to sell. But a combination of a whole range of technological advances that I can apply is the difference between sitting on the market for 12 months and being under offer at or over the asking price in 4 weeks, or in some cases less than that.
I think I saw some good stats, didn't I, about Avocado's performance generally relative to the market in terms of, you know, length, speed from listing to sale agreed, etc., and also the completions that actually make it.
Yes.
So the leakage is much better. You know, you see more of your listings complete than your competitors.
Yes. Yeah. Quite a significant amount.
Yeah.
So I really drilled down into the detail for Woodley quite recently,
right,
and based that over the last 12 months from January last year to January this year. And I think off the top of my head, the perceived top performing agent, and I say the perceived top agent because they're the ones with the most boards up, had a completion ratio of 69%, I think it was. Whereas if they're selling with Avocado, it's actually 90%.
Yeah,
it's incredible, yeah.
Big difference.
So it's quite a big difference. And I covered off property sold, exchanged, withdrawns, and a big one right now, reductions. And again, that particular agent had reduced something like 54% of the houses they bought to the market. So that's more than 1 in 2 people had to reduce their price. And that's no big shock to me, having been in the industry for that long, or haven't been in the industry for the length of time that I've been in the industry, because it's the typical format is, especially in January, because once you get to January, if I take it way back, when you come into January, most estate agents' stockpiles in their drawer, as they see it, will be smaller. You get to the end of the year, everyone starts thinking about Christmas, everyone kind of puts moving on the back burner. So when it gets to the 2nd of January, once all the estate agents are sobered up after the New Year's parties,
dry January time.
Yeah, exactly. Start dry January on the 2nd, and the instructions will be from those company directors. It's not right, let's go and sell houses. It's right, let's fill the drawers up so that we've got enough stock to see us through for the next few months. So if you have an evaluation, absolutely guaranteed, if you let an agent know that you're having other agents out, straight away they've just added 20, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds to the price they're going to tell you, because that's pretty much the only weapon they've got in the locker to make sure they secure the business. So that's why at this time of year you may well see a fluctuation in the market where you look at 2 houses and go, well, they're quite similar, but that one's 50,000 more than that one. What's going on? Well, that seller got told a massive number so that agent could take it on, and in the meantime they've just signed them up for 6, 9, 12 months, but because someone was so in awe of the price they're going to get for their home, they've not even asked a question about how long are they tied in for.
But that's a story as old as time, though, right?
Yeah, and it hasn't changed. 2024, and it's still the same story, unfortunately.
I've got a story about this, because my father-in-law died tail end of last year, and my wife is obviously, she's winding up his estate, and we had to get valuations on the property. It's nothing special, you know, it's just a 3-bed, you know, mid-terrace in Woodley. It's a decent family home, needs a bit of TLC, you know. It was well lived in, shall we say, and it needs a bit of TLC. But the range of valuations we had was quite significant, and one of them was just, well, ridiculous. I mean, I wasn't there, otherwise I would have laughed. But it's just not based in fact. There's no way anybody would pay the suggested list price, and I can't see I just can't see how that's serving anybody particularly. So I know what sounds sensible and what doesn't, and it just seems curious to me that still goes on, and you have people who, it's an emotional thing selling your house, right?
Yeah, hugely emotional.
And you're liable to, once, behavioural economics, the first number you hear, you're likely to hang on to, and then it becomes this sort of slow dirge of, well, we're going to have to drop the price, we're going to have to drop the price, we're going to have to drop the price. And some of these things I've seen on Rightmove, where you bring in the plugin that shows you the price history over time, incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. It's a bit of it puts you on a downer, doesn't it, when you're selling the house?
100%.
Keeping the price down.
100%.
How does it work when you go and put a price on a house? Is there a set criteria that you follow, and then you sort of give your opinion at the end, and then I guess other agents would go in and do the same thing and then add on more to make it sound like it's a lot.
Yeah, so
you're going to get a lot more than you actually will.
So I think
to seal the deal.
I think it all varies depending on the agent, but typically, the rule of thumb is most agents will try to be the last one in the door so that they can close you on the appointment and get you to sign there and then. So if they're calling you back at the last minute, oh, something's come up, can we move it? It's probably because they've got wind that another agent is coming out the day after they are, so they'll try to move around the back of it.
Oh, I see.
What an agent should be doing is delivering the price based on experience, the local market, the current conditions, and comparable evidence, which seems to be the main one missing when these numbers come out of thin air.
Yeah.
For me, I will sit there and I will go through recent history. I will go through slightly longer price history as well. I will add into it my experience and also where I feel the market is, because it's quite rare that you'll meet them on the day and they'll put pen to paper on the day. And certainly from my side, there's a completely no pressure approach. And I appreciate that on day one of delivering a price, and then people may well want to go off and see someone like Dom and go through the numbers to make sure it works. So it could be 2, 3 or 4 weeks before we're moving forward. There might be things I'm aware of where I know, well, actually, in 2 or 3 weeks, especially at the moment, that house price is going to be slightly different. And I'll have that conversation with the seller and say, look, if it were right now, today, it's this. I think in a couple of weeks, it could be here. I would maybe suggest marketing the home here. If it's maybe in a really good school catchment, now would be a good time for February, because you'll have the movers thinking about school placements for September, probably needing to go about now, based on last year's numbers. The national average to reach completion was 6 months. So you want to be in before September term time. You probably need to market the house now. So yeah, if you've got home in a good school catchment, next 4 weeks, get it on, get it going. Some agents will just, I guess, walk in and make a number up. They'll go, well, next door sold for that, so yeah, we'll add 30, we'll add 40.
Not very scientific.
Not just realistic.
No, but there should be applying a lot of data to it, and we at Avocado, we use a multitude of platforms that will give us a lot of insight and a lot of data. And a few of their systems will even deliver a number. So we'll kind of take that, I'll go and do my own research and recon and make sure.
I've seen that in action, and it's taking the vendor on a journey to a safe valuation number that's been evidenced as being a sensible price point to start with. And I just think that there needs to be more of that.
Yeah. And actually, I've got a big stat for it. I did some social media content at the end of last year, really around the importance of this, what it all means, and kind of putting that into practice. And I think I clocked it around about July last year. And I said to myself, if this is still the case in December, I need to talk about this because it's just mind-blowing. But yeah, lo and behold, we got to the second week of December and it was still true. But out of every single home that I was invited out to value last year that opted to go on the market with another agent based on a higher price, not a single one of those homes completed in 2023.
They were still on.
Yeah,
the market.
some of them are still on. A lot of them just came off.
Came off, yeah.
But yeah, a few now have had their 1 year anniversary.
Wow.
They've literally been on since last
Crazy.
January. And some of them have changed in price. Some of them haven't, but a lot's happened in the market since then. And if that doesn't kind of drill it home, the importance of correct pricing from day one.
I suppose
Yeah.
people don't know what they don't know, but
No.
but you know, we can try and shine a light on that
Massively.
through this series.
Yeah. And I think with technology, it's making it much more viable for a lot of people as well to kind of do their own research. And actually, it's quite refreshing from my perspective when I'm delivering a price, and a lot of people are saying, yeah, actually, we did a bit of research, and that's pretty much what we thought. So people are becoming more aware of it because of technology around them, and things like the plug-in for Rightmove, where you can see price histories on houses.
I mean, I've started sharing that with my clients just to say, look, if you're looking, you need to know when it was first listed, what it was priced at, and how it's changed if it's been on for a while. Because at the moment you're blind, and actually that's going to really help you with that conversation.
Yeah.
And most of them are like, "Wow, I didn't even know you could get this."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, because the agent's not going to tell you,
No.
but I am.
And I'm all up for it, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be more clarity and honesty when it comes to moving home, because before before the internet, before a lot of the technology we have right now, you kind of take what the estate agent says as gospel, and you can't really back that up in any other way.
Yeah.
But things are different now. Market perspective.
The year has started very positively, I have to say. And bearing in mind we spent most of 23 dealing with the aftermath of that mini budget.
That budget.
Yeah, the market killer, as I call it. So 23 was tough, right? And it was stressful, and people were we were having to give out quite a lot of bad news, particularly with remortgages and stuff, and people exiting really cheap deals. And some of these guys have only ever known a base rate of nothing, basically. So yeah, it was difficult last year, but I sense just a change in people's mindset from the start of this year, and that's borne out by the number of inquiries that we're getting. So lots of people, some of these clients were active last year, but holding off, and now they've decided, I think we've hit the bottom, and we need to get on with it.
Go.
Yeah, and there is that sort of buyer's market, which is probably starting to turn a little bit. I think it depends on the properties, but mortgage product pricing was on a firmly downward trend for most of the start of this year. Just before Christmas into January, it's got a little bit flaky in the last couple of weeks, which is really annoying, because I was thinking, let's just get a bit of stability, 'cause that's really what people need.
And we were pretty much there on the cusp of it, and it was, oh yeah, we got some consistency, and then
Yeah, it's almost like market overreaction, if you like, to everything the Bank of England governor says or doesn't say. The market sort of reacts to it, but there's still appetite to lend. Don't get me wrong. Lenders will continually fiddling about with lending criteria to become maybe more flexible than they were, because if you can no longer compete solely on price, especially for some of the bigger lenders, they'll look to relax their criteria, whereas before they would have turned somebody down. They'll be saying, actually, we can take a view on this. So long may it continue. I would like the rest of the year to stay as positive as the first sort of 6-7 weeks have been, but I genuinely think the base rate has topped out. The only way is down. The market, I think, has also bottomed out, and we'll start to see people that were holding off coming back to market and actually doing something, because life carries on. That's what I always say, right? It doesn't matter what the economy's doing or what the Bank of England's doing. People are still getting married, getting divorced, having children, dying.
Yeah. It's what you want to do, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah. But people will always have a reason to do something. It just, it's just not the frenzied market that it was when, the government doped the market with the stamp duty holiday and stuff. But who knows?
And even that, they've been threatening that it's kind of been hovering around for a little while, talking about the stamp duty
budget
holiday.
in March, what are they going to do? Something? Don't know.
And then there's a question, will it actually help anything? Probably not. I'd imagine it would be just based on first-time buyers. I think the moment the base rate drops, we're going to have that mad flurry. And we've had now, maybe 2 years' worth of first-time buyers that have just stayed in rented whilst their rents increased to a ridiculous level, but they've stayed sat on the fence watching. So it's not just your normal amount of first-time buyers we'll have coming through, it's a lot from last year and some from the year before. So as soon as that happens...
This rent, crisis in renting is not getting any better. And we're just not building enough houses.
No, it's extortionate now, isn't it? Rent prices.
Yeah. So you've had this transfer from successive governments. It's not just the current one. Governments before that were sort of creating, the private rental sector will pick this up, but they're not creating an environment that encourages landlords to be in the market. Certainly not if they've got to borrow money to own. So that is going to encourage people to buy, because it's the only way to get security.
Yeah. I mean, some of the loopholes that some investors are being asked to jump through now, I'm seeing, I'm hearing stuff I've never heard before. There's a few I work very closely with, and we were literally talking about it last week. He's keen to buy, wants to be active in the marketplace, 40% loan to value, so decent deposit numbers. 2 years ago, he could have got a mortgage offer in 24 hours. Now it's 2 weeks, and then they pulled the rate for investors. But if it was a residential mortgage, completely different kettle of fish. At the moment, it's much more accessible, much easier. That's turning the screws ever so slightly on the investors, but it's opening it up a bit more for first-time buyers to get in there first, I guess.
Yeah.
It's an interesting market.
Yeah. I don't know what the answer is, but throwing out tax incentives isn't going to solve the problem. We need to build more houses.
Yeah.
Although there's quite a lot of sort of planned development in Twyford, I think, which is, it sounds like a bit of a Marmite subject to me. Some people are not keen.
Some are well up for it, some do not want to know, do they?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a controversial topic for Twyford, but I don't actually think it's a bad thing at all. And we've already seen quite a few different new builds pop up. But Twyford is one of those areas, to a certain extent, I probably shouldn't say it on camera, but it's almost ring-fenced and protected because of the type of area it is, because of who lives in and around the area. It's never going to be one of those locations where you've got high-rise flats everywhere.
Oh, no. But there's a lot of green fields, isn't there?
There's a lot of green fields. And actually, if you go to maybe the southern parts of the sort of parish boundaries and see how much has been built that way, and I guess I can understand that might be a lot of local people's fears that it will end up looking something like that, but I just don't see it for Twyford.
I think a lot of people are worried about just the doctors being oversubscribed and not being able to get into local schools and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there's building, I think, going to happen on Bridge Farm, just up the road, isn't there? And then I think there's some on the other side of the road, maybe earmarked.
Right.
And then up, I think, Sonning Golf Club, maybe. Not 100% sure, but I think that's earmarked for housing as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on around here.
A lot spoken about Ruscombe and putting in an additional train station down that way. And again, I don't think that'd be a bad thing. It's not going to be directly Twyford. For there to be another station, it's going to have to be a bit further on down the road.
I'll tell you what, as someone who commutes into London from time to time, how on earth the Elizabeth line was built with all that money and Twyford station didn't get an upgrade is beyond me.
Or car parking.
Or car parking.
Car parking.
Car parking's like the hot topic.
Own goal. I mean, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Utterly ridiculous.
There's not enough parking for the people who just come into Twyford to look around, let alone people parking at the station or going into London.
No.
So
it
needs looking at, doesn't it?
Definitely needs sorting, that does.
Yeah. And actually, maybe if there was a station at Ruscombe, that could help with that.
Yeah.
That it would help the town centre by taking the cars away to Ruscombe station. And if there's sufficient parking down there, nobody's actually really impacted.
Yeah.
And you're that step closer to London, so it would make sense to go to Ruscombe instead.
Yeah. We need also, from like a sort of business point of view, just more people coming to Twyford would be nice to like look around. But one of the problems, I mean, we get it a lot at the Orangery, the emails of people saying, where can I park? Because if you want to come out for lunch and you're going to be more than 2 hours, the chances are the car park down the road that you pay for, it's like chocker from like 7:30 a.m. You can't get in there at all. There's nowhere else to go. So we need something in place to just get people into Twyford and look around more and shopping and things.
Because it is a pretty good high street, to be fair. I think it's a great high street. There's lots of independents, and there's hopefully going to be more places coming that are like the Orangery as well. So we've almost got the shops there that should be attracting a lot of people. But like I said, where do you park?
Yeah.
You always see the places you're driving through, and you go, I can't really stop here.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, if we had Ruston down the road and there was parking there, even if you wanted to park there, you could jump on the train at one stop, come off at Twyford, and you could easily spend a day here. More on that as and when we hear and know more.
Yeah.
Might have to
Coming soon.
coming soon.
Yeah.
So if you hear anything about any new builds or you know anyone, then let us know. Drop something in the comments, pop us a DM. We'd love to have a chat. So quite recently, Twyford was voted the best place to live in an annual report. Well, it's only February. But yeah, Berkshire Village beat more than 1,400 cities, towns and villages across England and Wales in the annual league table compiled by Britain's largest independent property buying agents, Guaranton Property Finders.
What if they did a best place to park award?
Oh, fuck.
So you might be on the other end of the list for that.
Yeah, just turn that table on its head a little bit. But I feel like that's been a long time coming because it's always, we
I'm
were
quite
spoke about
proud
before.
that it's like that. That's what we've been awarded.
Well, it was eternally Wokingham, wasn't it? Wokingham.
Yeah, constantly Wokingham. And Wokinham's lovely, but it's quite heavily overdeveloped in some parts now, I think, and there's still lots of bits that need to be sorted out there. But Twyford as is has kind of quietly gone under the radar, I think, for some time, and I know that things like Crossrail have played a part in that, and Crossrail's still an interesting subject in itself, but I personally think it kind of missed the boat because it was talked about for so long, got delayed for so long. By the time it came, no one really cared. We had COVID, everyone was working from home, no one really needed the train to London as much. But I think it's got a huge part to play in the future of Twyford. I think it's slowly becoming more relevant as people go back to work. And any time anyone's ever spoken about Crossrail, everyone's always spoken about it from the perspective of going to London. But for me, I've always felt actually there's a big opportunity there. It should be talking about coming into Reading and the surrounding towns. You look at some of the companies in Reading, rent's going to be maybe not massively cheaper, but it's going to be cheaper than central London. We've got Microsoft and quite a few other large corporations in this direction. So actually, what better place to live than Twyford? And just jump on the train and you're at work.
Yeah, it's like 2 minutes into Reading, isn't it?
Yeah.
From here.
Yeah, it's literally the next station. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the next one
stop.
along, isn't it? Yeah.
So there's nothing between here and Reading. So you know once you're on the train, next stop is Reading. So yeah.
Well, after you've had a few beers, you
Yeah, that's this is literally exactly what I'm thinking. So I've done that before and then ended up in Oxford when I didn't want to end up in Oxford.
Oxford's nice though.
Oxford's nice. At 2 a.m, not so much.
No.
A little bit different, but yeah, I think that's a really good accolade for Twyford. And yeah, finally, like kind of getting the recognition I think the town deserves. Been a long time coming.
I think it was because the Orangery opened up here that it
Yeah,
kind of
I
got
think that's
flipped.
it.
Probably
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that definitely tipped the balance.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Yeah, I hope so. But it offers a real opportunity now for kind of Twyford to take that and take it forward. It's going to be on the radar now for a lot more people, and not just those locally or in the surrounding areas, but those further adrift looking for, I want to be near Crossrail for whatever reason, and everything else they might not have heard of Sleepy Little Twyford before, but it's not so sleepy and it's not so little.
Yeah. And everything, like all the sort of, you've got great businesses, you've got great doctors, the schools are amazing. Yeah, what's not to love?
But no, thanks for joining us as ever. If you have any questions, want to know any more on any of the topics we've discussed, have any thoughts, or have any questions for us to answer on the next episode, then get in touch on the details below. Pop us a comment, ping a DM, and I'll see you soon.